All right, you are watching the last Roundup Horror Show. I am Frank, and we got a real duo tonight. It's just me and Ray.
It's like the old days. Hey
Yeah,
guys.
back before any. I guess maybe I said back before anybody cared, but now maybe still people still don't care, and we just have been lucky to have people pop in and out, and they're just tired of us
Right.
now.
Well, I mean, as always, I always feel like people are just tired of me in general.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I guess that could be the case. But I figured we were getting together on here anyways. Might as well talk about some movies that we watched recently.
cool.
Um, and let's start off with Barbarian. This is a movie that was annoying to me at promotion time
Uh-huh.
because the promotion is horseshit for this movie. I hate it. I hate the way they did it. They have these trailers and they don't tell you nothing in it. And then all the people that watched it and when it first came out were like, "Don't go in blind, man. Go in
Yeah.
blind." And I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. I will watch this in 15-minute increments and I will I'll do exactly what I did because I wanted to know what the big deal was because I hate being burned. You know how bad I hate being burned by
Oh
something
yeah.
like, and they were setting it up to be like one of those big twist things that like really it's a blow your mind, which it's not. But I went straight to Wikipedia and I'm like, plot, read the whole thing. And I was like, that sounds cool. And then I went and watched it. I have to do that more often or I'll never watch these modern movies because they don't want to give me anything.
Right.
It's either like in the case of a shitty movie, they'll give you everything in the trailer, like all the good stuff. And then in the case of some good movies, they don't want to give away any fucking thing. And then everybody worried about spoilers. A spoiler should not ruin a good movie. If the movie
Right.
is good, it should be able to stand on its own fucking legs, just like they used to back in the playground days when your friend would tell you the whole goddamn movie. And you'd be
Right.
like, all right, well, yeah, I got to see that. And then you'd go and watch it, and he had added shit, So like
Right.
I'm fine with plot synopsis. And this one had a great one. But the summary on IMDb says a woman staying at an Airbnb discovers that the house she has rented is not what it seems. Nothing that gives me nothing. It could be anything.
Right.
So that's the kind of you know give me a fucking treat. Give me something like the movie we're going to talk about later, Terrifier 2. That trailer gives you a lot of fucking stuff to look at. There's a
Right. And
lot of
there's still a ton left too,
yeah.
yeah.
But anyways, I'm not going to try to compare these two because
Right.
they're two different animals completely.
Exactly.
But it's written and directed by Zach Krueger, who's fucking whitest kids you know. He also did Miss March, that movie that he did with Trevor. What was his name? God, R.I.P. Uh, was his name Trevor? Right?
Uh
What
I've
is
seen Miss March, but it's been a long time.
the lead guy in Whitest Kids? Can't think of his fucking name. I feel like a piece of shit because I love that show and that
Yeah.
dude. Um, anyways, regardless, Zach from Whitest Kids You Know, and he did a great job.
Yeah.
Like I think there's really something to be said. I haven't seen anything Jordan Peele has done at all. I haven't been interested because of the way they promote this shit. The same reason I didn't have any interest in this. So
Yeah.
maybe I would like that stuff. I have no idea, but I have heard he's good and he was a comedian first. There's really something to see comedians go into horror. Uh,
Right.
I think it's a natural thing though, because they kind of have the same thing, there's like a same sort of thing, a punchline or a scare or the same
Right.
sort of.
There's a setup and then the payoff.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah.
But yeah, I personally would have swapped Justin Long and Bill Skarsgård's characters just because I think they already wanted you to think Bill Skarsgård was a creep, like the way they directed him. He was giving off vibes, and also he's got the whole Pennywise thing. So I think he would have been a better piece of shit at the end. And Justin Long is just always getting killed. So, you know,
Spoiler alert.
yeah, by the way, we're going to spoil this, all of
Yeah,
this.
spoilers will be peppered through this whole thing.
If you should know that already, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Um, the editing was sharp, but deliberately jarring at points. which kind of bothered me a little bit. Like I hate it when they do that to try to keep you off kilter. Like even whenever they went back and the flashback scene, the aspect ratio changed.
Yeah,
And also it was shot different. It was shot like more of a
50s TV show, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
it was just completely different. And that's cool. And I actually think that they will do a prequel movie about that guy. I mean, they have to, I think, because they didn't give enough
right.
of that character. Uh, but better get it quick because that dude, what's his name? The old dude. Oh, fuck! I should have wrote it down. He's
He's
not.
the Yeah, I know. I can't think of his name either. But
Uh,
yeah, he's been in a ton of stuff lately. So
but the I think the mother character was effectively used. It was a pretty cool monster. I think that it would have benefited this movie to have a few more of these deformed offspring, like down in the tunnels and stuff. I think
right.
it would have made it a little bit more rich of the story and stuff because what they were saying is this guy is like capturing women and raping them, and they're having babies down in this horrible
Uh,
catacombs or whatever.
yeah.
Um, I think that the effects look really cool, but it's nothing we haven't seen before. So that's the thing that was like, when everybody's like, it's gonna fucking blow your mind. It's like, I mean, not really. It's the sort of thing that would be down in a cavern type thing. You know, like you've seen it in a million different movies about people spelunking in caves or whatever, you know. Um, but it's different. It's got its own things. Um, yeah, and Justin Long's death was so cool. Like he,
Yeah.
first of all, his turn at the end, his heel turn, his real serious heel turn at the end,
Right.
and then him getting that what he deserves. You know, that was
Right.
just, and it looked cool. But for a first time horror release from a comedian, I mean, you can't have a better release. I fully expect, like I said, a prequel or a sequel of some sort. It's just that people love this thing. I gave it a 7 out of 10. But what do you say?
Well, yeah. First off, I wanted to tell you this something I read, and I don't know if this is true, but a guy said that I was first off, all these people I know are like dissecting the name barbarian. Like, what does it mean
Yeah,
to be a barbarian? What I read was that it's actually just Airbnb in an anagram. Barbarian is Airbnb.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
which I think is hilarious because I saw a lady like basically talking about how men become barbarians at a certain point, and I was like, yeah, you're reading way too much into this title.
Yeah, and that's the
But
thing,
yeah,
like comparatively, we watched these two movies, and I've seen so many people say, and I threw a thing up on TikTok, which one is better?
right,
And there were so many people that were like, Barbarian has more story and Terrifier has no story. I'm like, that's fucking crazy. I feel the exact opposite. There's not much story here for
right.
me. You don't get a real backstory on any of these characters except for Justin Long, and you could have cut that shit the fuck out of the movie. But
Yeah,
that's just my opinion. Anyways, get back to your
yeah,
thoughts.
yeah. Sorry, but no, you're right. You're right on that. But so that's probably my complaint about it. So I'll just start with the complaint first. Is that there are things that are weird choices in here that are red herrings on purpose because
Mhm.
they're like, look how smart we are, you know. And I loved it. I went in blind, as you said, right? I
Right.
didn't. I just saw that trailer, and I heard people at work say that was really good. I don't want to give it away, so I thought I was going to see Sarsgaard being the creepy motherfucker that he is, and
Yeah.
keeping this girl in this house or something. And I got a monster movie, so I was blown away, surprised. I was like, this is cool as fuck, you know?
But like the
Um,
thing about your surprise level, I want to know,
yeah,
because the way that everyone puts both of these movies have been discussing them is that it fucking blew their goddamn mind. Now, we've watched a ton of stuff on this show.
yes.
Did either of these movies blow your mind?
No, no, no.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't game changing. It's
Stop.
just done in a different way. It's Hills Have Eyes set in the
Yeah. I
suburbs.
just want
You
people to
know?
calm the fuck down. Okay.
Yeah,
These movies have plenty of promotion. It was everywhere, everywhere.
right.
They
But
don't.
but Bill Sarsgaard was great. I mean, his whole setup was fantastic. I love the way that he played it. that you thought he probably was creepy or working with somebody in the house, right? You know,
Mm.
when she sneaks in that one night and you're thinking, oh shit, he's got a partner, you know, like that's really cool. The girl that was the lead was great. I was like, wow, she's really good, you know. Like my favorite part though is how realistic the cops are.
Oh yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, my experience with the police are nothing like Law and Order. Okay, my experience with the police are they show up, they're not very helpful, they don't really want to be there, and they fucking leave, which is exactly what happened in this scenario.
Yeah.
So and they threaten you too because they're fucking on a power trip. So
Especially
I
in that neighborhood, right?
yeah
Like they didn't want to be in that neighborhood.
right.
Which, by the way, how the fuck did you get to that neighborhood? You go through that neighborhood, and you're not like, nah, we're not gonna stay here
I don't have one
tonight.
friend that would have been like, oh yeah, I'm gonna stay in this Airbnb. They would have just drove straight on to wherever the fuck they were going, dude.
Yeah,
Extra large cup of coffee, whatever it took, you know.
yeah.
So but anyways, back to it. I love the way it was shot. The music was amazing. I loved all the little nuances, like you said, the fact that it goes to a different aspect ratio when they do the flashback to the 50s or 60s, whenever it's supposed to be the height of this neighborhood. Really cool. This guy for a first time out, man, Jesus, he really hit the nail on the head.
Hmm.
So I gave this one an 8 out of 10. I can't wait to see what this guy does next.
Yeah, I hope he
Um,
keeps it up for sure.
I
That's
had no complaints when it went off. I was like, I would buy this on 4K tomorrow if I could. So
mhm. Yeah,
that was
it's very
yeah,
good. The one thing I still wonder about it is like, okay, Justin Long owns this property blindly. He bought it, for whatever. He was just buying a bunch of stuff when he had a bunch of money, and he
right.
was trying to invest. There are real estate people that go through a house, and there are people that tell you how much the house is worth. What do they call it?
Inspectors
Yeah,
and appraisers.
they would
Yeah.
have went through, and they would have seen the door in the basement, and they would have found all of this stuff and got killed probably by the fucking thing or whatever. But there would have been people on that house. Like, and like, how's the rental process work? He has no idea how any of it works. It doesn't make sense
Yeah,
what.
that part is a little bit not fleshed out. It's just there for convenience, you know.
Yeah.
Like why is this guy that's not involved at all showing up now, you know?
Hmm.
Which they could have done easily by just saying he was the landlord and these people never contacted him. What
Right, but
happened?
how's there a guy living down in these catacombs with monsters and stuff, and there's not one person
Yeah,
who's like got a report of that or anything?
right. The one homeless guy in the
Uh,
neighborhood knows about it,
uh,
right?
and
Don't
why is
go in
he still
there.
there? If you're a
Yeah.
homeless guy and you know that that's happening in that neighborhood, you move on to a fucking, first of all, go to a nice place. If I
Right.
ever became homeless, I would be in those rich people's fucking ass all the time. I'd be like leaning against their bushes and shit. They would never get
Yeah.
rid of me. It would be
Like go away, give me $20 and I will.
you need
Yeah.
any work done? I can clean up trash. And then I'd just be like dumping trash.
Yeah.
See, you get a lot of trash
Look
here.
at all this trash.
Anyways, let's get into Terrifier 2. After being resurrected by a sinister entity, I didn't know that happened. I didn't know that was a part of this. Art the Clown returns to the timid town of Miles County, where he targets a teenage girl and her younger brother on Halloween night. Written and directed by Damian Leone, who did All Hallows Eve and the first Terrifier. Um, did you know that was what was happening?
I had no idea.
Yeah,
I
I
just
thought
realized I thought he was resurrected at the end of the first one, so I had no idea how that even happened.
I thought he
So
just was kind of magical
yeah,
in some ways, and that maybe this was his like imaginary friend is what I thought it was at first.
right.
This little girl that's with him, who's great. I love them together. Like
Yeah,
it's a great combination.
this right here.
Yeah. Well, the first thing when she first shows up, she's that whole laundromat scene
Oh my god, so
is
great.
so crazy, and that guy that wakes up and sees him like naked with
Playing patty cake.
yeah, that is so crazy. Uh,
Oh man.
it's a great opening sequence. All the mime stuff is so fucking funny because when he like he doesn't have an eye, right? Like he's
Yeah.
lost his eye, and he takes that guy's eye out and puts it in and like goofs around and shit. It's and whenever I saw that people were getting like so grossed out by this, I was like, what it is they're so used to CGI stuff, right?
Yeah.
So like this very much all looks like practical effects, but it doesn't look real. I
No.
mean, the first of all, Art's abilities are like super strength. He does shit in this movie that like he did shit in the first one that is physically and scientifically impossible for
Right.
someone without powers to have. Um, which I did have a small issue with the magical aspect of this movie. Like I want him to be able to come back like that level of magic. But this stuff goes into like he's are you telling me that Art is a Freddy Krueger? Are you telling me that Art is a Freddy Krueger? Because that's kind of what all the dream shit is.
Yeah.
And
And I don't know that we ever got a solid explanation, in my
I'm pretty
opinion.
sure
But
he is a Freddy Krueger or a Beetlejuice of some sort.
yeah.
Um, he's definitely got something going on. The Halloween store, everything that happens in there is so much fun. I
It's
think
gold.
like the sunglasses thing where he's putting on different sunglasses. Yeah, it's so fucking funny. And you know, the all the effects are wild and crazy. The set design is really well thought out, I thought. Like I watched it with Martha and she kept telling me it felt like it was an 80s movie, and it's because the set design was all like 80s stuff, and then it also added the soundtrack is like all vaporwave stuff or like
Right.
yeah, which was another thing. I love this soundtrack. It was like um a lot of synthwave. I think I saw the Midnight on there and some other ones I
Yep.
recognized, Miami 1984 maybe or something like that. um but the guy that did the score is named Paul Wiley, and he is like he's been in multiple bands like industrial kind of music. Like anything you heard that sounded kind of like Marilyn Manson was probably him. Like
Awesome.
because he toured with Marilyn Manson. I think he still does. Like um if he even if, I don't even know if Marilyn Manson does anything aside
I don't
from
know. He got into
assault
a lot of
women.
trouble. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think he's taking a little break right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
um yeah, but like I said earlier when we were talking about Barbarian, people say there's not a story here, but there's like 10 times more story than the original Terrifier. um
True.
in fact, if you're dealing with the two cross-secting story, there's like two cross-secting stories. There's like Art, like you get more into what he is, and he's a Beetlejuice or Freddy Krueger, and then the family that is broken and dysfunctional, and I heard that Damien Leone, or however you say his name, that girl, that character of the girl that basically is like Wonder Woman or whatever the fuck. I hated that shit. But
Oh, really?
oh yeah, I know you love superheroes, but keep your
I do.
superhero shit out of my horror movies. Like what but regardless, that character is one of Damien Leone's favorite characters and oldest characters he's had in his like repertoire or whatever. Repertoire? Did I say that?
Repertoire?
Repertoire? You say that repertoire? Portfolio.
In
Huh?
his
Quit
portfolio. There you go.
laughing at me. uh, anyways, yeah, but that bothered me. That was like, but anyways, you could also argue that there's a micro story about that deformed woman that was from the first one, the victim.
Yeah, yeah,
There's like three stories going on. So if you say there's no story here, I don't know how you missed all three of them that's happening.
right.
They kind
Take
of
your
went
eyes off your phone and watch the fucking movie.
in fact, and like there's couple things that I love this thing. It's way too long. Um, it's I don't know why it's 2 hours and 18 minutes. That is fucking ridiculous. And um, it's over. It really is overkill at a certain point. Like some of it, but you know, it is what it is. Uh, I don't like the superhero shit. the final battle is very funny.
Yeah.
It is like a lot of WWF energy, complete with like the Hulk Hogan style comeback. Whenever
Yeah.
Art's just like whipping the boy and his sister, and then she like grabs it and then like takes it back, and like Hulk Hogan's her way back, and then it's like back and forth, and then it's literally like an Undertaker match when he knocks her into that grave, which at that point she has been stabbed in the stomach and she should have died. She should have died, and Art should have eaten her brother. That's what the way the movie should have ended. Bleak and terrible. But it didn't, because her fucking wound heals up, and then she becomes a superhero, and then comes
Correct.
out and destroys saves that day. It bothered me. Uh yeah. If you cut a half hour off this thing, some of that shit could go, I'll be honest. uh and and I would give this a 10 out of 10. Just change a couple things. There's tons of cool shit. I wish they hadn't made magic a part of the world so much. Like, I do think it's cool that that little girl can like replicate voices. That's cool, but there's things I like. There's so much in this movie that the small amount of things that I don't like don't really touch how enjoyable it is.
Yeah.
But it's, I think I gave it an 8 out of 10, but I think once I adjust to Art's new Beetlejuicy attributes, I'll probably give it a higher score. Also, that bitch at the end, did you watch the
I watched the mid credits. Yeah.
mid-credit scene? She gave birth to Art's full ass
Oh,
head with a
yeah.
digital, it's like a digital face on it, right? Like,
Yeah.
and that's all I have to say about that. That's all I have to say. It's just that was bad. That was bad and dumb. And
It made me laugh. I was like, I just thought it was funny as
but
shit.
it's one of those things. Another thing, I'll make sure you watch that mid-credit sequence. Why? I would have enjoyed it more if I hadn't seen that. Like, but it is what it is. What do you say, Ray?
Well, first off, I got to tell you this because I just read this today, and I think it's hilarious. So, Damon Leone and crew, that are involved with the producers, they have sent this movie to be reviewed
Oh, I saw that.
for Oscars, which blew my mind and made me laugh.
People have to watch it.
Yeah, it's the highest level of trolling I could ever think to do, because this movie isn't going to win an Oscar. It's not going to be nominated. But to think that these old fat fucks are sitting at their house and they have to watch Terrifier 2 because it was submitted.
They have to
with all
consider
the
it.
others. They have to consider it. I would love to be in a room with some of these people. But he's gonna do what?
And it depends, because that's all the Academy votes on that shit, right?
Yeah.
And like people like Jerry O'Connell are in the Academy, and I saw him gushing about this movie.
Okay, it's making people, if you don't know the story here, it's making some people faint, even vomit in theaters because it is so graphic. So you took your lovely wife, Rebecca, on a date last night.
Not only did I take my wife, everyone call up CPS as we speak, because I took my two 13-year-old daughters as well. No, you didn't. I did. They have to learn real life, Akbar. They have to know what's out there. It's Halloween season.
Wait a minute, you're saying real life means there's a killer clown in the neighborhood?
Is that Halloween season? When you're trick-or-treating, you got to be careful. People are crazy out there. No.
So you take them to a bloody, gory horror movie to teach them real life, right?
The movie was great. The theater was packed.
Oh my God.
Not a seat. I kept having to hit refresh because they were running out of seats. It was filled with teenagers. My kids were super scared. I forced them to go.
Did you nearly gag a couple of times?
You know what? It is a very graphic film, and it's what they call practical special effects. So it's not computer generated, which is what all these movies use now.
Yeah.
It's practical special effects, so it gets very gruesome. It was a lot of, I can't believe I'm saying this, it was a lot of fun. If you're looking for that this Halloween season, go and see it.
How gory? How gory? Because I don't like the gore.
It's the most gory film I've ever seen. I mean, guys, this is daytime. I can't get into it, but there's a lot of brains.
Okay, and
Let me just put it that way.
and compared to alien pop out your stomach gore.
Okay, honestly, it makes Alien look like Bambi.
Yeah.
It makes Alien.
So I see why people are fainting and why people are vomiting. Like you understand.
Listen, I didn't faint or vomit. I mean, it's kind of so gory, it's almost like laughable. And listen, it's actually great. It's also what I'm going to call horror mime. Like the main character that goes up there, he's actually like a great mime actor. It's a mime. It's a great mime clown performance. I'm telling you, as an actor, I have to like talk about the acting, and I want to say the main character is an incredible mime artist. Really good stuff. Great movie. Everyone should see it.
So you're right. Maybe there'll be enough people that do vote for it that would get in, which would just be amazing. So I had to say that. But I wanted to say something against your thing about her being a superhero. I don't believe that's what they're going for. My thought is, so I think that Art is the embodiment of an evil demon of some sort, and she was the exact opposite spectrum. So her dad foresaw that he had given birth to the savior of humanity, maybe, right? And or a Nephilim, right? That's it. Nephilim is
an angel.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Get him the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So, like, I thought it was neat that they kind of did that scenario.
It pissed me off. It didn't piss me off to the same degree.
Yeah.
A Dark Song. Have you seen A Dark Song?
I've seen. Yeah, I have. I watched it for one of our.
When that angel comes, that one made me give that movie a 1.
Right.
Because it was so CGI and it was so big and it was so, why the fuck did you handle this way? This was different. It gave me similar sort of holy. The bitch looked like she was drawn on a Magic the Gathering card, like
she did.
She looked she looked like that. And characters like that, I don't need them, man. Can the bad guy just win one fucking time? Like they never end it right. Like Halloween Kills, Jamie Lee Curtis is still alive at the end of that. What are we doing? How many years has he been chasing her just to be done in like that?
40, like, right? I guess.
You can't kill her. Like Art the Clown is a maniac who had this girl killed, and then this magical sword. If you bring a magical sword into my horror movie, I'm already a little pissed off. And then you gave her, my dude.
There was a little story there about it, why their dad was clairvoyant, and then he didn't like his visions and killed himself, so. But you're right. Okay, let's take that out. But I'm just if we're making our own, we should. But I thought I interpreted it as the opposite spectrum of Art, which would be neat, which was neat to me. It's like these two opposing forces are fighting, but I love superhero shit, so
I figured it wouldn't bother other people, but it gave me there's a movie called Terror Tunes that I really love. It's a bad movie, terrible movie, but they do a similar thing at the end. Like the girl becomes like a fucking superhero and then beats the bad guys. It's like, man,
just don't do it.
Art should have won. That's it. Kill him in the next one or whatever,
Right.
I'm sure they'll bring him back because that's his whole. They already did. He's brought his head back. He probably just grows fucking spider legs out. He's Beetlejuice.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty awesome. But as far as this movie, though, you're right. It did not need to be 2 hours at all. But I loved that it was. I had nothing to do that night, so I watched the whole thing, and I sat here just giggling and clapping. And
you didn't need to take a little break from
the
extreme
I watched the whole
gore. Like I just needed to take a tone break, So I watched it. I watched an hour, and then I watched the rest of it the next night.
Yeah,
just to get some Night Court in there, get a little Dr. Quinn.
Yeah, man, I just watched the whole thing, and I enjoyed it. But you're right. At one point, I stopped it to see how long it was. I saw 45 minutes to go,
and it's like the kills are really cool, but they are so long that it was reminiscent of that. Have you ever seen The Story of Ricky, or like one of these gore movies that just really they take it too long? It's like you're on it too, one of those sleepaway camp movies. There's a girl that is getting shoved down in a porta potty, and you remember that? I don't know if you watched that one with us.
I've seen that one. Yep.
But it takes forever, and the gurgling sound goes on forever, and it's like, all right, man. I mean, you get the point. But
this one, you're right. The girl in the bedroom, I was like, that was like 20 minutes, dude. I
Yeah.
mean, literally 20 minutes
Well,
because there was, yeah,
are you talking about the one that was still kind of alive and her mom
yeah.
came in?
And her mom comes home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. That I read that scene alone took the longest and was like the most pain in the ass because they had to like puppet it. Like they had a thing hooked up to make it look like it was breathing, and like there was
right.
people under that bed operating this like, very expensive
I
you
love
know.
practical effects, though, man. To me, there's
Mhm,
nothing better. I think you're right. These young kids today have been spoiled with
mhm,
this CGI stuff because they're like, oh, that's not scary. Or like,
right.
watch a motherfucker's face get ripped off in practical
Yeah.
effect. That, you know,
Yeah,
it's
and like, well, just what's been popular. I mean, even though there's disturbing images in like Midsummer or any of these modern horror movies, it's
right.
usually just a punch in the face, just one thing, and then there's a lot of mood and atmosphere and all this stuff. This thing is like, I mean, there is a section of it that isn't even one like it's not even anything really happening where he machine guns the shit out of all these people. It's
Yeah,
like it takes no time at all, and then he's on to the next thing. It's just constant, and I feel bad for people that watched it in the theater because you, that is a long time to not take a piss, um, and you're gonna miss something. I mean, because there's
yeah,
very few moments where it slows down.
right.
Um,
I gotta say, what's the guy's name that plays Art? I forget his
I
name.
didn't write it down. I didn't write any names down. This is
But
kind of
he I didn't either. He was fantastic. He in both of those movies because I watched Terrifier last month. You know, at the
Mhm.
beginning of the month, that was my first Halloween movie because I hadn't seen it in a year, and I thought, you know what, that new one's coming out. I
Yeah.
might as well watch. And it is a good fucking movie. It's
Yeah.
just good.
And I'll tell you what, he makes that role because have you
Yeah,
seen All Hallows Eve?
I have not seen that one. That's one I haven't seen.
That has the original Terrifier short film in it, but it
Uh-huh.
also has wraparound segments with art. It's a different actor. But even then they kind of let you know that he's paranormal. His eyes glow at one point. So um
Is it worth watching? All Hallows Eve.
it's a solid anthology. It's nothing great. I mean, uh there's an alien segment I believe is pretty bad. They always throw like an alien segment in these things, and
Yeah.
generally for the most part it's pretty bad, but it might be one of the good ones.
Okay.
I know that the art segment is the Terrifier is the highlight. It's like the end of it, and there's a couple good stories in there. It's probably like a 6 or a 7, I'd say.
I wasn't sure, so I didn't check it out
Yeah.
because I'd only ever seen Terrifier, and I didn't want to ruin it if you know what I mean. But what my point was overall is like this guy makes you're right that he makes this character intense, and he
Mhm.
can turn on a dime, man. He's so good.
Yeah,
He
it's
can be
like
doing
David
goofy shit.
Thornton. Is that his name? David Allen Thornton or something like that?
I don't know. I
I'm getting
didn't,
it wrong, probably.
but he's great. I liked in this new one the final girl. Like I said,
Mm,
I thought she was really great. I love the brother. Usually they'll get you a kid in these kind of low budget horror movies. Well, this one's higher budget, so I
mm.
guess. But he was solid. I really was rooting for him a lot. You know, I love the school shit in it. You know, there was like that typical high school part too, which is
Oh
cool.
yeah.
I love the way it was shot, man. The music, like you
Mhm.
said, God, the music is so good in this
Oh
movie.
yeah.
I was into it from. You're right, Martha was right. 80s movie feel the whole ride.
Yeah, by
Um,
design for sure.
yeah,
The only thing that seems modern is their cell phones. So
right. Yeah. So, but I gave it. There were, like you said, there were parts I would take out. I gave it an 8 out of 10. It is going to be if they come out with a double pack for me, I will pick it up day one. It'll add it to my horror collection.
yeah.
I'd love to have both of these so I can watch them next Halloween because I'm sure they'll do a third.
Mhm.
So
Oh, for sure.
yeah,
I do think it says a lot, even though the Halloween movie that came out this year, Halloween Ends, was panned by a lot of people hated it. Some people liked it. You liked it, I know, and I have a
I
feel
liked it. It was different, man. I liked it a lot. Yeah.
I
So
have a feeling that I would like it too. But just to say that a movie trumps a Halloween movie at Halloween, like that says a lot because this
yeah.
movie took over. It was the Halloween movie for sure this year.
Now the last I checked, and you guys, feel free to drop in the comments when you're watching this what it actually has become. But as of I believe last week, it was like $5.1 million gross worldwide on a
Right.
$250,000 budget. which is unheard of. I mean, that's
Wow.
big shit right
I
there.
can't
So,
believe that they made this movie on that amount of money.
yeah. So
That's incredible. That's
yeah,
must have had a lot of people come in to get involved in this.
right.
But yeah, I don't know. I recommend it. If you want to watch it and you don't want to watch it in the theater, get yourself a Screenbox trial.
Right.
It's free, and I think that while you're there, but I already canceled mine. I should have watched this before I canceled it. But there's an It documentary on the '90s miniseries on there.
I really wanted to watch that too, so I left mine open. I'm going to check it out too. Yeah,
Yeah.
that looks really good. So
But the last thing I wanted to do here is I did put up which movie's better on TikTok, and four individuals stitched it. So let's see what Arlie Grind, Chunky Larry, they're both from the Ghoul Kids table that are friends of ours over there, and Israya 84, I believe that's her handle. If you know who she is, you know who she is. Zuko's Corner, also, he's a friend of ours on the TikToks. So check out their thoughts, and we'll see you in January, I think. Or no, we're doing Schlockfest. We got
right,
Schlockfest.
right. Buy our book,
Yeah,
The
buy it up.
Midnight Nexus Volume 2
Yeah,
on Amazon.com right now, hardback,
yeah.
$14.99, paperback, $9.99,
What's that
and
digital?
also available on your Kindle digital files, however you do that. I believe it's $3.99 or $4.99, I believe.
That's a
So
bargain.
it's a bargain right
It's a
there.
bargain.
A lot of good contributors to this, not just us. There's two other people involved, and there's good stuff in this. So
Fueled by
check
the
it out.
devil.
Yeah, fueled by the devil and the sleep
Yeah.
apnea.
But keep it tuned to our YouTube, subscribe, and all that stuff, and we'll put stuff out on there. Stuff will happen on there.
Yeah, check out our TikToks and all that stuff. So,
Yeah. All right. Well, have a good night, Ray.
you too. Peace out.
Later.
My question to you is, which one do you think's better and why?
So this took me the better part of an hour to try to come up with an answer. I've been sitting here like churning it over. Both Barbarian and Terrifier 2 are phenomenal films. Highly recommend. In my opinion, fantastic films. Which is better? The $1 million question. It all came down to one thing for me. And if you know me, you probably figured it out. Terrifier 2 for the win, just because of clowns. But really, both films, incredibly awesome films.
I'm definitely going with Barbarian, mostly for the fact that it had a story that made sense and wasn't all over the place. Kind of was, but it was still put together in the end to where it made sense. I need a story in my films. It's just something I definitely need. And it always helps too with practical effects, which Terrifier 2 did have. But I need my damn story, so Barbarian.
Oh, that's a good fucking question. So I think, personally, that the difference between Terrifier 2 and Barbarian is Barbarian has a little bit more of a traditional approach towards horror films, and Terrifier 2 is just non-stop violence. Both satiate a different side of my brain, but if I had to pick one out of those two, I could only pick one. I'm gonna say Terrifier 2. Like, I love fucking Barbarian, but Terrifier 2's like tippy-tap. Also, thank you for the plugs. Love you guys.
I would have to go with Terrifier 2. And I don't even think it's a debate. But the thing is that Terrifier 2, I think, is a better movie because I feel like I got more out of it than I expected. I basically got a Wonder Woman origin story from Terrifier 2. That's basically what I got. And I'm like, yeah, I'm with it. Like, hell yeah, I'm fucking hella with that shit. The practical effects in Terrifier 2 are some of the best that shit could rival Prime Savini, Prime Steve Johnson, Prime K&B. Damien Leone is a fucking psychopath. That Allie scene alone, if you've seen Terrifier 2 and you know that character Allie, oh my. I have to give it to Terrifier 2. It didn't scare me, but I remember sitting in a theater, in a full-fledged theater, fucking packed, and everyone was very uncomfortable. And it had the desired effect that it was supposed to have on its audience. It was supposed to make you feel very uncomfortable and very unnerving. The one thing I love about Terrifier 2 is that it let its shit hang out. It was like, look man, here it is. Let's go. Do you know what I mean? And also too, like, this movie also solidifies Art the Clown as this generation's Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, Candyman, Chucky, Freddy. Now you can put Art the Clown in there because now he's a certifiable fucking franchise. Art the Clown is a franchise. You know what I mean? And if and when they do a part 3, that's even gonna raise the bar even more. The insane level to part 3 is just gonna be even more gruesome. I mean, if you stuck around for that post-credit scene, where the fuck are they gonna go with it now? I mean, I did enjoy Barbarian, let's not get it twisted, but I don't think Barbarian had the desired effect on me that it did on everyone else. Barbarian had a really great structure in the way, in the sense that it's edited, because it kept the audience off balance, and that's why those scares worked so well, because it kept the audience off balance, because they thought it was gonna zig instead of zag. But Terrifier 2 is just like a horror fan. That's just what I got more out of it. Like, I got my retro pieces. You know what I mean? I got pieces remade, so I'm happy with that.